All right. Test sounded good, so I am now recording. Ready when you are. Is this countdown different from the one on Unfocused? So do we say box? It's switch. Gotcha.
All right, I am now also recording. 1, 2, 3, switch. Hello and welcome to End Focus, coming to you this week from the Valley of Seers in the Kingdom of Hyrule. I am your host, Hilke, and joining me, not as usual, is my co-host, Seskra. How are you doing today?
At last, after 10,000 years, I return. I mean, it's actually been 6 episodes, but I return!
Oh, it's been longer than 6 episodes, I think.
But no, I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. Had a busy month, but in a very good way. And looking forward to talking about the Nintendos.
Yeah. For people who are curious, Rosalie is dealing with some back pain issues that are making it quite difficult to record. And so, in the interest of getting an episode out, I asked Seskra, co-host of Game Podular Unfocused, which you should also be listening to fill in and talk about Nintendo.
I was available.
You own a Switch.
I do, yes. Not a Switch 2 yet. I'm waiting for more titles that actually will make that purchase worth it. But no, I greatly enjoy my Switch and have enjoyed every Nintendo console I've owned, which is all of them ever since the GameCube, except for the Wii U, because it was the Wii U.
Yeah. One of the funniest stories I think we've ever covered on this podcast is either last year or 2 years ago, there was a Best Buy, a big electronics retailer in the US.
Yep.
That just had a Wii U left over and sold it. It was just sitting in there in the back collecting dust, and they were like, hey, should we sell this? Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
In the year of our Lord 2023. Or 4.
I don't blame them for selling it. You might blame someone for buying it. That says a lot about them and their taste. But I don't begrudge GameStop or Best Buy or whoever it was for getting rid of it.
Yeah. There's definitely some Wii U sickos out there. I mean...
We see you. You're valid. You're wrong, but you're valid.
Yeah. Come join us in the present. We have consoles that can do 4K.
Yeah. Also, while we're at it, Final Fantasy XI players, all, 7 of you? They made this thing called Final Fantasy XIV. Maybe get on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, now that I've driven off, a good portion of the audience, how are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I've also been very busy. As you may have seen in the Discord server, I was on vacation. Mm-hmm. In Scotland, and It was great, and I had a fun time, and then on the last day, I got sick, and then I was sick for 2 weeks, which was not a fun time. You may still be able to hear it in my voice a little bit. It was worse on the Portal 2 stream last weekend, I think, and I know that because I was editing footage from it yesterday all day.
Mm-hmm. All day, every day, never stop editing.
I mean, you joke, but no, I didn't do any editing today, but I will be doing more editing tomorrow because, this podcast needs to be edited as well.
Yo, stop it. People can't. I've been telling people we're doing this in one take without any breaks. Can't spoil the magic.
Oh, I have some terrible news for them. No, what you say is, post-processing is also part of editing. I use normalize and various compressors and all that kind of thing.
Yes. Also, for those of you playing the home game, Hylke and I did go on vacation to the same country the same week, but on completely unrelated trips to different people in different places.
Yeah. And also to vastly different parts of the country.
Yes, you went up to Scotland, whereas I went to the north of England. Shout out to the people over in Clitheroe. You know who you are. We love you.
But we're both back from vacation now, and that means we're back to doing podcasts. We're back to doing streams. And if you like that sort of thing, I do want to remind you that we have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/GamePodular. You can go there. You can send us some dollars if you want to. You don't have to. I know we say this every time. It's rough out there. Life is hard. Take care of yourself first. But if you got some extra cash lying around, if you send it our way, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, for less than the price of a Cornish pasty, you too can help keep the lights on.
And if you are some of the people watching this on YouTube, or listening to this on YouTube is, I guess, more accurate, hey, what's up? Glad to have you. Be sure to like this video, share it around, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. We post all of our podcasts on this channel. That's youtube.com/@GamePodular. And we post all the VODs and some stream highlight edited videos of our Twitch streams on youtube.com/@GamePodular streams highlights. We just finished our Portal 2 single player playthrough, and I edited together a stream highlight video of like just the single player part. It's like 28 minutes long, which I was not expecting when I was collecting clips from it. But I think it came out pretty well. I'm very happy with it. So if you haven't seen it, you should go do that.
Yeah, it turns out we're funny, actually.
Yeah, I like to think so. All right, now let's get into the news. The first news story, as it frequently is new NSO games, this time from the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Or Super Famicom, if you're spicy. The first one of these is, in my opinion, the most interesting one, is Mario and Wario. And it's the most interesting one because it has never been released outside of Japan before now. One of the reasons, I assume, is it required the Super Famicom mouse to play the game, which is why it has only hit NSO now, because now that the Switch 2 has mouse mode for the Joy-Cons, you can actually do stuff like that. I haven't played it, but it seems neat, and I'm glad that the mouse mode for the Joy-Cons means that we can get more games like this on there.
I wonder if it could have been controlled with just like the Joy-Cons as like the original Switch Joy-Cons, or with, you know, say a Wiimote. Like, they probably could have approximated that. It might not have been very good, if we're being honest, because like it's motion control, whereas mouse would be like it can actually stay still in the same place on screen. That's probably actually why, if now that I think about it. Yeah,
makes sense to me.
Yeah. If I had heard about this like one day earlier, I would have been able to like actually test it out by just plugging my mouse into my Switch. But peek behind the curtain, gentle listeners, I found out that Rosalie was unavailable like 8 hours before we recorded, so did not have time.
Yep. That is like I don't want to complain too much. When I say a complaint, I'm not complaining about Rosalie at all. It's just I talked about this at the end of the last stream as well. N-Focus has a bad habit of just things happening, and they're usually Nintendo's fault. Well, they'll be like, we'll have a recording date set, and they'll be like, like the day before, they'll be like, in 24 hours, there will be a 45-minute long Nintendo Direct. And we're both like, well, we had a whole episode laid out with notes and interesting things, and I guess it's different now.
Yeah. But no, I'm glad that Mario and Wario is finally out here for Western audiences, because like I've known about this game for a long time, because little bits of it have leaked out into the greater Nintendo universe, as it were. Like I first heard about Mario and Wario from a trophy back in Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Wow.
Yeah, like so it's been on like the outermost periphery of my radar for a long time, but as you said, it hasn't been available outside of Japan until now, and only if you have, like, even then, only if you have pretty specific, you know, not particularly common accessories.
Yeah. The next one is Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Third Kind. Ho, ho, ho. I guess this is to coincide with the recent announcement of Bubsy 4D. Yes, they are making another new Bubsy game that's a sequel to Bubsy 3D. Like, there's only so long that they can keep this joke running before people realize that it's not a joke anymore.
Yeah, they're really banking on internet irony being a sustainable resource, which, in my experience, history does not bear that out. But yeah, this is where I have to make a terrible, terrible confession. I do make a point of playing the games that we talk about when they are at NSO, because I have it, might as well.
Yeah.
Everything you have ever heard people say about how bad Bubsy is true. It is not, in fact, overblown. It is not, in fact, unfairly hated on. It is a profoundly miserable experience.
Damn.
Yeah. Not to derail the segment, but I have a... What is Bubsy? Bobcat. I have a Bobcat on my back that I need to get off. So, in brief, okay, it's a 2D mascot platformer like we all know and love from the SNES days. And I will say up front, the art is nice. Art and animation are actually really nice, and there's a weird amount of effort put into things. The music is obnoxious, but it is at least obnoxious in this was made by an actual musician and not just somebody rolling their face on a keyboard kind of way. So, yeah, if you want that, go play 3D Extreme Paint Brawl. It's I can't believe that game shipped with that soundtrack, but I digress. So yeah, 2D mascot platformer. It's zoomed in a little too far, which is a mistake a lot of non-Nintendo platformers made back in the day. So it's hard to see things coming. You know how in, like, Mario, there isn't really a health bar exactly, but usually there's a system built in where Mario can take more than one hit. Like, if you're, Fire Flower Mario, and you get hit, you go to being Big Mario, and then from Big Mario down to Small Mario.
Yeah. And
you know how, like, Sonic has rings, and if he hits an enemy, he'll drop the rings, but so long as he doesn't hit an enemy again, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bubsy doesn't do that. Literally every kind of damage is a go back to the last checkpoint situation.
Cool. Great.
Combine that with camera that's zoomed in too far, it's really easy to just run into enemies.
And you move pretty quickly in that game, right? Like, I've never played it myself, but I've seen footage.
I would say deeply average speed. It's not as fast as Sonic. I would say it's probably on par roughly with like Mario, because like Mario can move at a fair pace most of the time.
Yeah.
Also, camera being zoomed in too far means if you fall from a platform, you don't know if you're landing on an enemy that'll, if it's like a Goomba situation where you land on them and they die and you bounce, or if it's a Spike situation where I kid you not, this is what happened. I landed on a taxi and then the taxi kidnapped me and drove off. This is a real actual thing. This is an enemy type where you can't land on top of them. And I couldn't see it coming because I landed from great height onto this thing. And I couldn't see it because of camera. Speaking of landing from great heights, you know what's great in a 2D mascot platformer where all damage is instantly go back to the last checkpoint damage?
Oh, I know this. I know what you're about to say. Is it falling damage by any chance?
It sure is. Which really threw me for a loop because the first thing you do in the first level is find a not particularly secret, like, super trampoline that launches you up into the air. And you land from that and you're fine. So it's like, okay, 2D mascot platform rules. Like, as long as I don't land on a hazardous surface, it doesn't matter how high I go. No, it's in fact really important. There is a glide button. So I don't want to say this is, a game-breaking thing, like it just descend by gliding instead of literally falling and you'll be okay. That does mean you can't land on enemies because there is nothing in this game that doesn't have a trade-off somewhere.
Oh, God.
Like, yeah, if you glide to avoid fall damage, that means you can't touch enemies even if they would die from you landing.
Can you at least, like, stop the glide and, like, hit the enemy still?
I believe so. I did not have a huge amount of time to, like, thoroughly test this. But yeah. When I say there's a weird amount of effort put into, like, the art and animation, what I mean is this game takes sadistic pleasure in finding things to kill you that you don't think would kill you. And all of them have bespoke animations. I've seen so many horrible things happen to this bobcat, all of them extremely justified and welcome.
That's very funny, though. Like,
it's like, we're going to put all of our developmental resources into this. See, also, his catchphrase, the infamous, like, what could possibly go wrong?
yeah.
Keep in mind, that's voice acting in
Yep.
a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
That is very few and very far between. Like, the only other one that immediately comes to mind is, like, Super Metroid, where it was actually a really big deal.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're gonna devote a big chunk of the, like, cartridge memory and a not insignificant amount of system resources to the most obnoxious part of the game and the part of the game that is most sadistic to the player. It's an interesting design philosophy.
It is kind of funny that that's just like a genre of game now. You know? Like, I'm fully willing to believe that back in the day when they were making Bubsy, it was mostly unintentional. Like, you know, they wanted the bespoke animations for all the Bobcat kills to be, you know, at least interesting or charming, because you're going to be seeing them a lot by the sounds of it. But now it's just like you have games like Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, or the new one, Baby Steps.
Or even,
it's just like,
you know, this goes back as far as Super Meat Boy, at least, if we're talking about, like, that genre coalescing, as it were.
Yeah. I Want to Be the Guy as well.
Classic, yeah. And I will say, Bubsy could have been worse about it, because you'll notice I didn't say go back to the start of the level. No, it's checkpoint. This game does do checkpointing, and they are, by the standards of the era, pretty generous.
Is there a live system?
There is, which is an oof, but it is also weirdly generous in the sense that, like, level 1 starts you off with 9 lives. Get it? Because cat 9 lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, you can find, like, multiple, like, extra lives over the course of that level. That doesn't mean the game is easy. I hit multiple game over screens before I finished level 1.
Holy crap.
Yep. But it is, I think, honestly, in a way, as close to the modern day, like, Meat Boy formula as they could have gotten on the Super Nintendo with, like, the limitations and know-how of the time. I don't think it's what they were trying to do exactly, but I think they were trying to mitigate their own design choices as much as they could. They knew they had made a mistake, and yet they published it anyway.
And then they just kept making Bubsy games. They're still making them. There's a new one coming.
Like, re-releasing the old ones for a laugh and, like, you know, the 4 people who would pay money for it, sure, go for it. But yeah, making a new one at this point feels like I said, they're really banking on people not tiring of laughing at Bubsy. Whereas I think Bubsy is best enjoyed in small samples. Like, it's that very special kind of annoying where, like, it's funny annoying, not like on purpose funny, but like you have a good laugh at how terrible it is for the first 45 minutes, and then you're still playing the game and you start to wish you weren't.
The weirdest thing is, they also made another new Bubsy game like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yep.
Like, they're really trying to push Bubsy.
Yep. Make Bubsy look strong, damn it.
Oh yeah, you're going to hear a non-zero number of wrestling an above average number of wrestling references in this podcast, by the way. And not just because of one of the stories.
So yeah, I would recommend, if you haven't, so check out Bubsy. See for yourself, see that the legends are true, and we should have kept that sarcophagus shackled. Do I recommend people actually try playing it for its own merits as a game? No. No, I promise you have better things to do. Did you clean out the lint from your dryer in the last 6 months? No, go do that instead.
Have you set your laundry machine, your laundry machine? Have you run the machine clean cycle recently?
Yeah.
Got to do that once a year.
Did you clean the grease out of the suction hood over your furnace or your stovetop? Anything,
Ooh,
anything. Check the pressure on your tires. Do garden, go furniture shopping, anything. Rather than, I'm not here to tell you, it's one of the worst games I've ever played. It's not. It's really not. But there's a reason that we talk about Bubsy the way we do, whereas other deeply mediocre platformers of the day, like Arrow the Acrobat, completely flies under the radar.
Or glides in this case.
Bats fly.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I was referencing the Bubsy glide.
Which I don't think they ever explain. It's not he's a magic bobcat. He's not he's a flying... No, he's he glides, I guess.
Just an bobcat.
Yeah.
With one very annoying catchphrase as opposed to Gex, who has a lot of terrible jokes.
Gex the Gecko, my man. Also not good, but more likable than Bubsy.
And then the last game is Fatal Fury Special, which is an upgraded version of Fatal Fury with a bigger roster and a new combo system that, according to Wikipedia and the other articles I read on it, is made to be very similar to Street Fighter II's combo system, because it's Street Fighter 2.
I did also play this one. Would you believe it's better than Bubsy Claws Encounters of the third kind?
What? You're kidding.
No. Hear me out. Hear me out. It has Terry Bogard, who is a pretty cool dude that you might have heard of. And Mai Shiranui, who is a pretty cool girl you might have heard of. And a bunch of other people, some of whom are massive jobbers who you will have never heard of. But,
Such is the life of a fighting game franchise.
Yup. Speaking of Mai Shiranui, I do find it funny how, funny/depressing how in this particular era of fighting games, it's no, we're going to have female characters. Can't put the S on the end? Why is that? Oh, we have one. Exactly one. Yeah. In the same way that Street Fighter had Chun-Li and only Chun-Li, in this one you have Mai Shiranui and only Mai Shiranui. And
did original Street Fighter also have Cammy, or was she later?
I believe Cammy was later. I'm not sure which installment she was introduced in, but the very first one, it was just Chun-Li. And
it would be very funny if, incoming wrestling reference, if, there was a fighting game that worked like wrestling, in that there's divided divisions, and I'm working up to a Southpaw Regional Wrestling reference of, you can't have just one. What's she gonna do?
Mirror match. You could do that in a fighting game.
Yeah, that's true.
Chun-Li versus Chun-Li. It's the main event that AEW wishes they could book. But yeah, I'm not the best person to ask about how is this old school 2D fighting game, because I haven't played very many of them, if I'm being fair. The fighting games I did really get into were all firmly in the GameCube, PS2 era and onwards. So I'm not very well versed. From what I saw, it plays very well. I like the depth on each. It's not just literally a 2D plane. There are multiple lanes along the 2D. So you need to be in the same lane as your opponent in order to actually hit them, etc.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm. like the sprite work is immaculate as it always is with these kinds of games. Like we're talking like Super Nintendo 2D fighting game. The sprite work is going to be really, really good. It's like a PC 98 visual novel. Like whether the gameplay or the contents are good, who's to say? But the artwork way above average. And yeah, like I'm sure this makes some people really happy, and I'm unironically very happy for them. I would have maybe liked to have seen more game modes, but I get that that is something that literally was very hard to physically fit on the cartridge back in the day, because it is pretty much just like, campaign mode, quote unquote, that's just pick a character, fight other characters in like a series of increasingly difficult levels that are semi-random every time. And then I think there is a time attack mode, and that's kind of it. That's your lot. Go home. So that notwithstanding, yeah, from what I can see with my fully admittedly like amateur understanding of it, I would say it's a really solid installment.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. That was very interesting. Thank you. Cards on the Table, that is a lot more detail than how we usually cover NSO games. So it was very interesting hearing about them.
Well, like, I'll fully admit, I'm, being the emergency substitute, I always worry a little bit like, oh, am I actually going to be able to contribute to the other stories? But with the NSO, it's like, I could just play those and then have things to talk about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Moving on to our next story. Oh, right. This was an interesting day, an interesting couple of days. In classic baffling Nintendo fashion, they dropped a video called Close to You. Just out of the blue, no announcement, just uploaded to their YouTube channel. It's a cute video that shows a baby taking its first steps as its pacifier seemingly moves through the room on its own. Comments were disabled when it was released. There was no description on the YouTube video, so naturally, speculation ran rampant about what it could be. The two things that people immediately latched onto were A, the baby's hair looks like Rosalina's, kind of, and B, there was the Pikmin musical motif in the soundtrack. Then, a day later, they posted a different version of the video to the Nintendo Today app, and only the Nintendo Today app. They haven't uploaded it to their YouTube channel for some godforsaken reason. That had the Pikmin that people thought would be there. They were the ones causing the shenanigans. More speculation happened. Ooh, are they teasing a new Pikmin game? Then, on their Japanese Twitter account, Nintendo clarified that these were just shorts done by Nintendo Pictures Company Limited and not promoting or teasing anything in particular. Just sort of, look, we made these.
Ta-da!
Isn't it neat? And I mean, yeah, they were pretty neat.
Yeah, and like, I 100% get, like, we have a new division in the company, they need to show their stuff, we need to actually release that to get feedback. I get that. Like, there's nothing wrong with the product itself, it's just, I guess it's new to them as well, so they didn't know to, like, provide context for the thing we're seeing.
The weird thing is, though, like, when, I know this out of personal experience now, when you upload a video to your YouTube channel, you have to make the choice to disable comments. So they did that part on purpose.
Oh, well, that and the lack of comments, I think that's maybe just because there is a baby in it, and like...
Oh, yeah, it could have been marked as, like, under the YouTube Kids banner, but under which comments are disabled by default, yeah.
Yeah, like, whether or not that call was made by Nintendo themselves or by YouTube is a little tricky to say.
That's a
And
good point.
and even if it was up to Nintendo, I wouldn't blame them for disabling comments just because, like,
No.
I wouldn't want to moderate that.
No. But like it's just, I say, classic baffling Nintendo fashion. Just the lack of communication about this is just odd, right? Like, if it were me, I'd do something like, here, look at this new short that was produced by our animated film division. And not just like, here. Nintendo, what is it? Here. There's a different one tomorrow. Okay? Like, I don't get it.
Me neither. What's fascinating is I did just look it up. Nintendo Pictures, yeah, like
Yeah,
it's Nintendo.
they bought it.
Yeah, they
and
bought
renewed.
it. It's been around since like 1996, and they've done a bunch of stuff you've probably heard of because like they do a lot of video game animation as well as anime. Like, are you into Precure? Good news, they've done a lot of Precure. Let me tell you.
And they also did some work on like pre-rendered cutscenes in some Final Fantasy games, if memory serves.
Yeah, they did mocap for Death Stranding 2. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. I guess this is maybe them building up. Like, I could see Nintendo being like, hey, collaborating with Illumination for the Mario movies has been worked out for us, but we should have like an in-house division for that kind of thing. Like, I could very easily see an argument along the lines of, oh, this, we've had the movie in development, we released a trailer, and we kind of pulled the Sonic the Hedgehog where the trailer got bad reception. We need like emergency edits. It strikes me as very Nintendo to not trust other people to do that in time, like to not want to outsource that. They would want full control. So it's like, we got to have our own people so that if we need to do that, we can do that.
Yeah. If you haven't seen them yet, they're very cute. I recommend them. But just, again, the reason this is newsworthy is just Nintendo is on a really weird track record of having very bad communication around a lot of things. Like, we complained on this podcast multiple times about just like a lot of the information around the Switch 2 was just like fragmented over a lot of different sources. And it was actually quite hard to find certain things.
It
This
strikes
has just
me.
been a weird trend with the company recently.
Yeah, it strikes me as weird that this was uploaded to Nintendo of America, but the clarification was on the Japanese social media.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, like there isn't even a copyright notice or anything in the description.
It is empty.
Technically, there is a description in as much as it just says close to you,
Yep.
but that is effectively empty. And
Yeah.
like it is a cute video. Like it feels in line with, say, the shorts that would play, like, if you've seen like a Pixar movie in theaters and there would be like a little Toy Story short before that that was like 3 minutes or something. It's got that kind of energy going for it. It's cute. It's well made. And yeah, like I said, there's nothing wrong with the thing itself, and I feel a little bit bad for it that it's probably not going to get judged on its own merits now. It's going to get judged on the merits of how weirdly they handled its release.
Yeah. And it's also weird that they haven't uploaded the version with Pikmin in it to the YouTube channel. It's still only on the Nintendo Today app, a thing that I have used maybe 6 times ever since installing it.
And how many of those were specifically for the podcast?
6. Also a very strange move. Like, I think they walked it back, but they did disable screen recordings in that app as well. So like there was a period of time where this video was just literally like you could you could have maybe only watched it on the Nintendo Today app. And I imagine people trying to upload that version to their own YouTube channels just for like archival purposes are getting smacked with copyright takedowns and stuff as well.
What? That doesn't sound like Nintendo. Yeah, no, it absolutely sounds like Nintendo. Yes. But
I will say I don't know that for sure. I haven't looked into it.
No.
I'm purely speculating.
Based on,
but in all seriousness, it does sound like something they would do.
Yeah, we are speculating, but based on an extensive body of historical evidence.
Yeah. Moving on to the next one. A couple episodes ago, in one of the many Nintendo Directs that we've covered in recent times, we talked about a game called Mina the Hollower. It is the new game by Yacht Club Games, makers of Shovel Knight and many other Shovel Knight variations. And it was originally slated for an October 31st release date, which, if you're keeping track, is in like 2 weeks.
At time of recording.
And that is no longer the case. Yeah. They have pushed it back to an undetermined date in the future. The reason they've given is to, quote, apply some final polish and balancing to make the game truly shine. This game looked pretty cool, and I do want to play it. And, you know, it is good that they're adding in the extra effort to make it the best version it can possibly be before launch. And I'm really hoping that this does well, because I always feel kind of bad when a game studio they just make the one thing, you know?
Yeah, you hate to see people get pigeonholed.
Yeah, like I said it kind of jokingly, but it is true. Like Yacht Club, to the best of my knowledge, has only ever made Shovel Knight and Shovel Knight expansions and spin-offs.
They are, in fact, still working on them, because also with a to-be-announced release date is Shovel Knight Shovel of Hope DX.
Great. More on that as it develops, I suppose. I imagine we'll be getting another trailer in the future with an actual release date, or just a press release.
I'm just surprised that they announced this now, whereas, like, if they had announced this 3 to 4 weeks ago, nobody would have batted an eye, because it would have gotten lost amidst the ocean of games that were postponed because of Silksong.
By the couple of quotes that I read in some of the articles I did research for this, the impression I get is they were fully anticipating that they were going to be ready before October 31st, and this was an admission of defeat, basically, like, we can't get it done, we have to delay it. And they kind of just put it off for as long as possible to see if they could still make the deadline. But it became clear that they couldn't. And so now it's been announced. And I say now, it was announced like a week before of this podcast's recording.
Yeah. I do wish they would update the release date on every platform. Because, like, you know, you see it on Steam and it's like, yeah, to be announced. At least on the Dutch Nintendo page, because, you know, it's slated for a Switch 2 release, it still says October 31st. And
I don't know if they have control over their own entries in the Nintendo Online store.
Ooh, that's fair. That might be up to Nintendo, but yeah. If it is up to them, please get on it, lads. Get off the yacht for a sec.
Then our next story, oh man, it was so exciting to have two of my main interests colliding in this way. If you recall, for Pokemon Legends ZA, which comes out, later this week, they've been doing little, like, cool trailers and other events for some of the new Mega Pokemon. The Mega Victory Bell one almost looks like a Silent Hill game before the Pokemon show up. It's very weird. And for Mega Hawlucha, they did basically a wrestling match between Machamp and Hawlucha, which I want to applaud them. It is very funny that they uploaded the animated trailer with the same formatting that people upload like wrestling matches to YouTube with full match, Mega Hawlucha versus Machamp. And also, to cross-promote it, they teamed up with the oldest wrestling promotion in the world, CMLL, a Mexican Lucha Libre promotion, and they put on like a 2-hour wrestling show to celebrate Mega Hawlucha.
You love to see it.
It's free on YouTube. I watched it. I realized there's probably not a lot of wrestling fans in our audience, so I'm going to try and keep it brief. I will say, if you are a wrestling fan, the one thing that might throw you off a little bit is all of the matches were 2 out of 3 falls, which I was not expecting when I started watching this show. I was like, I was writing down like who was in it and who won and stuff, and then I was like, that was a very short match, and then they just kept wrestling, and okay, I guess we're still going. The Pokémon that were represented, because that's what we're all here for,
Yes.
are Sylveon, Togepi, Hawlucha, of course, Machamp, of course. I think Hisuian Quillfish. It was kind of hard to tell. It could have been Overquill as well. And there were mascot suits of Pikachu and Eevee.
Yes.
The actual, as a wrestling show, it was very low stakes. Like, they were not really giving it their all, shall we say. But it was a fine enough watch. I would recommend the women's match and the main event as the best ones. The main event was the most Pokemon integrated one, where the good guys were Team Hawlucha and the bad guys were Team Machamp. And the captain of Team Hawlucha was Mystico, who was the biggest star in the company. And the captain of Team Machamp was Echiseto, who is the biggest bad guy star in the company.
And both guys are also great. Especially Echiseto.
They're great. They're excellent. Oh, big fan of him.
Big fan.
Big fan of both, honestly. It's free on YouTube. Check it out if you're curious. If you've watched some wrestling, it'll be... If you've watched wrestling before, it is specifically Lucha Libre. So if you're only WWE or only Japanese wrestling, it's going to be a little bit different than what you're used to. And if you've never watched wrestling before, it's a good time. Check it out.
Yeah.
Have been playing. Obviously, I was on vacation and I didn't do a lot of gaming there. I did bring my PlayStation Vita and played on it exactly once before discovering that it gives my right hand cramps.
Does it need a stand like Kid Icarus Uprising?
No, it doesn't. It's just probably an RSI or something.
So it's a skill issue.
And then I got sick, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be spending a lot of time on the couch. So I picked up Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition to play.
Ooh.
Because Age of Imprisonment, the new one, is coming out next month. And I've barely played these Hyrule Warriors games before. Fun fact, I did play a small amount of Hyrule Warriors Legends on my new 3DS. One of 2, maybe 3 games that was only on the new 3DS because the old one couldn't handle it. I didn't like it very much, so I traded it in and bought something else. But I'm having a lot more fun with this one. I haven't finished it yet, so let's call these first impressions. The one thing I want to mention straight off the bat, wow, this game is stressful. There's so many things that require your attention at the same time that it can be quite overwhelming, and I never feel like I can really get to all of it in the same level. I'm choosing to believe that is intentional, both as it simulates the chaos of a real battlefield, and as this is a decent excuse to play the levels more than once.
Yes,
to
it is
get
a
a feel for them.
Yeah, it's a good way to do replay value. And it's not just this installment. This is something that like the actual Dynasty Warriors franchise has done for many years.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that briefly as well. I talked about this on the at the end of the Portal stream as well. My history with Warriors style games is as follows. I have never played a Dynasty Warriors game.
Good start.
My first game of this type was 99 Nights on the Xbox 360.
Oof, my condolences.
I got really into Dragon Quest Heroes for a while, the first one on PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I have now played an amount of Hyrule Warriors.
You know, you're sticking with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I've been playing, like, my first one was Dynasty Warriors 4. Great game. Love it. Banger soundtrack. And then I did the thing you're supposed to do with Dynasty Warriors, which is just take a break for an installment or two, because they don't actually innovate that much between installments, if we're being entirely honest. But I came back for Dynasty Warriors 8, and that was pretty darn good. It was the last good one.
Nice.
Because, yeah.
Right, 9, they tried to make it open world, and it was bad,
Yeah,
right?
and the things they did to my boy Shang-He. But I did also get back into it for, oh god, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Houses? Is that what is that the subtitle, 3 Houses? I had mixed feelings on that one, so me and my brother were like, should we swap Warriors games? So I borrowed Hyrule Warriors. It's literally the game in my Switch right now. I just haven't started playing it yet. And my brother borrowed Fire Emblem Warriors. Yeah.
Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes.
3 Hopes. Yeah, 3 Houses is like an actual Fire Emblem game, isn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah. I blame the people who pick the names. It's not my job to remember things.
I am told by Scott that you shouldn't play this game in handheld mode on Switch 1, because even in handheld mode, they force it to run at 1080p, and it has some problems when it tries to do that.
I mean, I can see why they would make that call, because Warriors games have a lot, as you mentioned, they're very busy. There's a lot of information to keep track of at any given time. And on a small screen, having a high resolution does help with reading all of that info clearly.
Yeah.
But can it actually take a captain?
I've never played it, but I am told that it's a little shaky.
A little shaky, yeah.
It's great on Switch 2, though.
Nice.
And if anything, like the forcing it to be in 1080p works really good in Switch 2 handheld modes.
Nice.
I've only been playing it. Only really been playing it docked. I've played it a little bit handheld, but I basically only ever play Switch games docked. So
fair. But back to Hyrule Warriors.
Yes. There's multiple things to do in each level, including, like, there's a gold Skulltula that shows up that lets you unlock, like, pieces of, like, a picture, and those only stay on the map for a certain amount of time. There's side quests that happen during the levels. There's chests that contain either pieces of heart or full, like, heart stones.
Heart containers.
Heart containers. Yes, thank you. Wow. And generally, you're not going to be able to get all of those on your first try in the level. And, you know, this game has an XP system, so replaying levels to actually find all the things is also a good way to level up your characters, because that increases their max health as well.
Is there, like, a rank system of, like, you finished this level at S rank or whatever? Anything like that?
There is not.
Oh,
There's
thank
just
goodness. Yeah. If it's just an XP system,
here are
then,
the things you have found in this level.
Yeah, because, like,
and an XP system for the characters.
Because if memory serves, I don't think it was a ranking system exactly, but Hyrule Warriors did have I one of the things that bothered me about it was I would be very reluctant to move on to the next mission until I had done all of the things I could do in the previous mission for a wide variety of reasons. Like, I was worried about it getting cut off, which, at a certain point you progress through the story and that can happen. I wanted to make sure I had optimal resources and everything. I didn't want to leave anything behind, as it were, which is can be kind of stressful because then it's like I'm replaying a level I've already done for the third time as opposed to advancing. But if it's just an XP
Hyrule
system,
or Fire Emblem?
This was in Fire Emblem. But
if you said Hyrule, and I had to make sure.
I'm sorry. There's too many warriors. Dare I say, too many warriors. You got your Dynasty, you got your Hyrule, you got your Fire Emblem, you got Samurai Warriors. Shout out to Samurai Warriors. Yeah. There's Warriors Orochi. There's the Gundam ones. We're not even going to get into those. Point being, that was very stressful in Fire Emblem. But if Hyrule Warriors just has an XP system, that sounds like you'd be a lot more comfortable just moving on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My other sort of like nitpick about it, I suppose, is when you find chests in the levels, you open them with the Y button, which is your just normal light attack button. It's the button you press the most while you're in the levels. And I understand that they use that button because how often it's used. However, I am used to basically every other video game where the A button is the interact button, because it's also the confirm button in the menus for this game. But the A button in battles is mapped to your special attack, which you have to build up over time by killing enemies. And I have wasted so many of those opening chests.
Can you remap the buttons?
I don't know. I don't think so. But like it's only the A button. Like it has other functions as well, Yeah. It's not just the open chest button.
Fair,
so I don't think remapping would. Like I said, it's all the A button also uses your special attack.
I do find it very funny, the mental image of like Link channeling his inner Kratos and smashing through the top of a chest rather than opening it.
Yeah.
It's like, I've done too many of these. I can't take it anymore.
But those are sort of my two main criticisms of it, because I am having a great time with it. It is kind of hard to go wrong with, I think it's Musou?
Musou, yeah.
Musou. Yeah. Okay. Type games. I don't have a lot of experience with them, as I've said. And, they're a little repetitive, but that comes with the territory. And the XP system and also the materials you gather by defeating monsters let you get like character upgrade badges, which unlocks which slowly expands your combos and adds new ones and increases other things like damage reduction in certain types of levels and stuff. And so that also is another reason to replay levels, to farm materials, I suppose. Mm-hmm. But I've never really run low on materials, so it's kept like a pretty natural progression. You don't really need. I haven't really felt the need to farm yet. Mm-hmm. The story, as it is so far, I really dig that it is sort of like a highlight reel of cool moments from the franchise's history.
Yeah,
they're. How much do you care about early game spoilers?
In a Warriors game, I don't.
Okay. There's a moment fairly early on in the story where like portals open up that take you to alternate Hyrules.
Because everything is an isekai now.
Yeah. and that means that they get to use characters from all over the series. So like one of the places you go is Skyward Sword Hyrule, so you run into the bad guy from that one whose name I forget because I've never played it. And in one of them you go to Ocarina of Time Hyrule, and in one of them you go to Twilight Princess Hyrule, and you run into Midna. And in one of them you go to Majora's Mask Hyrule and run into Skull Kid. And they do enough interesting things with it in the construction of the story, and also just it as a big battlefield centered Warriors game, that it doesn't just feel like the cheap pop of, ooh, I like things I remember, you know?
Yeah. Also, to be fair, like, there are people who either haven't played Zelda but do like Warriors games, or just people who have not played every Zelda or haven't finished every
Like
Zelda.
me.
Yeah, like even people who would describe themselves as Zelda fans, like there's going to be ones that they miss. I mean, as you said, like you haven't played Skyward Sword. I actually specifically know somebody who I mentioned to them that Impa was in the game. That's Zelda's bodyguard from Ocarina of Time.
From the Sheikah tribe.
Yeah. And they were very surprised because they were like, wait, Impa? Like, that's a really cool cameo, like, for such a minor character. Because they had only ever played, like, Ocarina a little bit, so they had seen the bit where Impa is a bodyguard, and not the later bits with Impa that I won't spoil here. But, yeah, she's a little more important than that, and they just completely missed that. So they were just like, oh, man, that's so cool. So it being a little bit of a highlight reel, honestly, very forgivable, especially when they have so much to draw from.
Yeah. And it does make me think about, like, how this would work as, like, this format, but as a big just Nintendo crossover. Because obviously we have the big, like, we have Super Smash Bros. As the big Nintendo crossover game. But we've talked before on this show about other things they could do. Like, we've spitballed, like, a real-time strategy game because of the mouse mode on the Switch 2. Sort of like a Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2, like each game is its own faction. You can make, like, this is the Zelda faction, and you have the heroes, Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf, and then rank and file units are like Tektites and Octoroks and whatever. But you could very easily, I think, do a Warriors-style game that's a big Nintendo crossover as well. And I want to see it.
I wouldn't mind seeing them give that a try. It would be nice because, like, Nintendo does do big crossover stuff outside of Smash, but it's usually always in the form of, like, sport. Because Mario Party they used to do Mario Party, and then they kind of just stopped doing that.
No, they made a new Mario Party, like, last year.
Oh, true. I think that was the first one in a little while, but I digress. Point being, I wouldn't mind seeing them experiment a little. I'm trying to think what else would be a good, like, you know, okay, they've done this with Zelda and they've done it with Fire Emblem, and those are kind of the two semi-obvious ones.
Yeah.
Okay, go with me on this journey. You know how supposedly Nintendo was thinking about doing a Metroid Star Fox crossover game at one point?
Yeah.
Give me that. Give me Metroid Star Fox crossover in a Warriors format. And if you want more than one character from Metroid, I present to you the Jobbers from Metroid Prime Hunters. To fill out the
there's
roster.
nothing stopping you from using the villains as well. Like, Ganondorf is playable in this game, you know?
Yeah. Like, let me do a super combo as Ridley, you cowards.
Exactly. My only concern there is, like, characters from Metroid and characters from Star Fox are, like, their iconic weapons are ranged weapons, but you could do just, like, ranged attacks like they do with the magic spells in this game, I suppose.
Yeah, well, you can make it work.
And I guess we have Linkle as well. Like, her weapons are 2 crossbows.
Yeah.
Just do it like that.
There's ways and means.
Yeah, I think it would be really funny if they tried to do this with, like, Pikmin.
Pikmin could be fun. Actually, you know what would be a weirdly good one for it is, in a way, Princess Peach Showtime has, like, a bunch of forms for Peach that would fit this format really well, actually.
Yeah.
Give me Sword Fighter Peach. Also, just can we get more Princess Peach Showtime? But that game was good, actually. I want to see him carry on that thread.
I want to see it be less a game for babies.
That's a fair point, yes.
I admit it, I haven't played it, because that was a very common criticism of it, and I didn't think I would enjoy that very much.
Those people did not do the optional challenges. I digress. But this is not about Princess Peach Showtime.
But yeah. So if you're listening, Nintendo and Shigeru Miyamoto, because I know you do,
What else
how
are you
else
doing?
would you know a recording schedule and know when to plan events and live streams just as we're going to record?
Like, I'm sorry I
Nintendo
took the last
crossovers,
donut,
Warriors
Miyamoto-san.
games.
Please forgive me already.
If you want to work something out, our freelancing rates are very affordable. One more thing I did want to mention. There is like some voice acting in this game, and I wish there was more, because a lot of the dialogue I think is charming and well written, and also, useful and relevant to the story. And when you're in a level, all of that dialogue just sort of happens in like the bottom left corner of the screen, and it's very easy to miss all of that when you're actively fighting enemies and doing really big flashy combos. And so a better way, like either with voice acting or some other way of just making it harder to miss, would have been nice.
I get that
'Cause
having
the
a
voice
big
acting that's
roster.
there is good.
I get that having a big roster means voicing all of those lines would probably, get pretty big, because everybody would need their own variations on, like, oh no, they're pushing through. Yes, we are advancing, etc. But I mean,
They're Nintendo. They have more money than God.
yeah, and also that didn't stop like Koei Tecmo from doing it since like day one for Dynasty Warriors. So
Yeah,
get on
and
it,
this
you
is a Koei
cheapskates.
Tecmo developed game.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe Nintendo didn't want to give maybe they didn't want to set a precedent that some characters can speak full actually, I just realized the important question: does Link talk in this game?
he does not. A fairy whose name I forget shows up and does all the talking for him.
Okay, good. I was about to be like, wait, did they actually start doing voice? Did the Doom guy thing happen all over again with Link, but I missed it? No. Yeah. Yeah, maybe they just didn't want to set a precedent for certain characters talking in a regular way. I don't know.
But I'm having a great time with it. I have not played a lot of it. I'm like, I think I'm just out of the prologue, based on what like the levels are. Like I'm barely into it, and I'm gonna keep playing it, I hope, because I am having a good time with it. But Pokemon Legends ZA does come out 2 days from time of recording, and tomorrow by the time you're probably hearing this. So this game and most other games I'm playing at the moment might take a bit of a back seat for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, other people are also going to be playing games, and I believe you have been playing some Outlaws. Now, this is just Outlaws, not Star Wars Outlaws, correct?
Correct. Yes, I've not played the Star Wars Outlaws. I don't really plan on it. But no, this is funny you mention. Funny you mention, because you know who made Outlaws?
Is it Ubisoft?
LucasArts. It's a rare instance of LucasArts doing something that has absolutely nothing to do with Star Wars. Outlaws, for those who don't know, it's
I'm one of them.
yeah, it is a 2.5D first-person shooter from 1997 that LucasArts did based on their in-house Jedi engine. That's the game engine they made for Star Wars Dark Forces back in 1995.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was actually pretty impressive for the era because, like, first-person engines were, actually pretty hard back then. Like, there were 3. And this was one, like, because to give you an idea of the timeline, 1995 Star Wars Dark Forces, that's after Doom 2, but it's before Duke Nukem 3D. This is, like, not a build engine game.
Okay.
It predates all of that. It's its own thing, made in-house at LucasArts, and it works. It works really well. It's a good game engine. All of the cutscenes are, you know, that really nicely fully detailed, like, painterly pixel art that LucasArts would do for their adventure games and such?
Yeah.
Imagine that, but, like, fully fluidly animated at, like, 20 frames a second.
Damn.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I need to say this right up front. The artistry of this game is kind of off the chain. Like, the cutscenes are some of the best of the entire era. Not an exaggeration. The voice acting is good. Is so good. There's a lot of it in the cutscenes. Not very much of it in gameplay at all. Other than, like, enemies being like, "You're outnumbered, Marshall." Because, spoilers, it's a Western. I probably should have led with that. It's a old school...
I assumed from the name.
Yeah, it's an old school Western, like, a good man done wrong, now taking his revenge kind of story. And the voice acting is tippity-top, cream of the crop. A lot of veteran actors in there. And when I say veteran actors, I mean, like, more than one of them was born in the 1930s. So these are people who, you know... have got the game down by now. Standout, and not just because he's the biggest name, he's also just my favorite performer. They got John Delancey for one of the villains, Q from Star Trek. And he is probably the hammiest person in the cast, but also the best person in the cast. He is eminently memorable. I love him so very much. He voices Matthew Jackson, better known as Dr. Death Jackson. They don't call him that for nothing, let's just say that. And he is having...
Not Steve Williams, though.
No. He's no Steve Williams. You thought we were done with the wrestling references, didn't you? Didn't you? But no. He is so delightfully creepy in the role. Because, like, a character trait of his character is... misquoting Shakespeare and the Bible, and, like, it's kind of a running gag in the sense that, like, he clearly doesn't read these things very attentively, but he delivers it with, like, dripping sadism is how I would describe it. Like, he delights in being creepy and unsettling because it's John Delancey and he's really good at it. That is not the best part of this game. The best part of this game is the soundtrack. And I'm just going to say it. Top 3 best Western soundtracks of all time. Not an exaggeration. Fight me on this. I will fight you in the street on this. Yeah, it's...
Just, like, regardless of medium?
Regardless of medium, yes.
Okay.
Like, this could go toe-to-toe with Ennio Morricone. Like, it's by Clint Bajakian. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Bajakian. If you're wondering what else he's done, well, a whole bunch of LucasArts stuff. So, Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, X-Wing, TIE Fighter, Full Throttle, you name it, he's done it. Grim Fandango. He also did music for Unreal 2, which, thinking back on it, the music was the only good thing about Unreal 2, so good, well done there. He's also done work on the God of War series, not as, like, lead composer, but as senior music manager. He's done work on Infamous, Killzone. He's actually still working. There's a game coming out. He did composing for Ale Abbey In Beer We Trust. And I'm today years old that I heard of this game, but yeah,
same.
Good on you for still working. And this is his magnum opus. I cannot overstress enough. It's a beautiful orchestral Western score with amazing guitar work in it. And there's tiny bits of this game where the audio is weirdly low bitrate, especially the panting sound when the main character's stamina bar drops below half. There's a stamina bar. Don't worry too much about it. The music does not get the low bitrate treatment. The music is clearly the highest quality they could afford to make it because it is awesome.
I had a question for you in that regard.
Yes.
Because this game, we were talking about it on this podcast because it is coming to a Nintendo system.
Correct.
Is that as some sort of remaster,
Yes.
I assume?
Yes. And that kind of caught a lot of people off guard because, frankly, it's a LucasArts property that isn't Star Wars, so Nintendo historically doesn't care very much about those. But the good people over at Night Dive Studios, the people who will remaster literally anything, as long as it's first person and came out before 2010, they will remaster it. They were like, yeah, we could do that. And so they are, in fact, doing that. It is coming out on Switch 2 November 20th of this year. So mark your calendars.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, not just Switch 2, also Switch 1, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X. The whole kit and caboodle. At time of recording, it is PC only. I got my version off of Good Old Games. I had to do a little bit of fiddling in the files in order to get it running properly. Like, just out of the box, it ran at an extremely weirdly slow frame rate. And I couldn't fix that in the in-game settings, because Outlaws is from an era where things like graphical settings and such, if you want to change those, that's an entirely separate .exe file you have to open beforehand to make the changes, and then you boot the game.
At least you didn't have to go into like the .bat files and like actually change game code.
No, thankfully not. But yeah, it's a Western with great voice acting, great music, great visuals. Does it actually play well? Yes, it plays really well, which is super impressive for a first-person shooter where every enemy is a hit scanner. It's just very tightly designed and well-balanced. Like, enemies are fragile, you are fragile, the game trusts that the player is going to be better at playing the game than the NPCs.
Nice.
And so it's actually, like, if you are sloppy or not paying attention, then yes, any given goon can probably kill you in about 3 shots. That actually rarely happens. Like, if you do die, it's sort of because of an ambush or because it's a boss fight. Because while enemies hit hard, so do you. Like, there's nothing in this game that feels like weak or piddly. You will be using your starting 6-shooter throughout the entire game because, fun fact, you can fan the hammer, so it's actually a pretty decent, like, rapid-fire gun as long as you don't mind having only 6 shots. A lot of weapons in this game have alternate fire modes, which is early for, like, 1997 as well. Like,
yeah.
Like your 6-shooter, normal shooting, and you can fan the hammer. You get a lever action rifle that has a scope, and it's actually this is something everybody says about this game, but it bears pointing out. It is pretty widely credited as, if not the first scoped rifle in first-person shooters, then at least among the very first, because it doesn't just like cut to a zoom-in view when you use the scope. Like, no, like 10% of the on-screen, of what's on screen becomes a zoomed-in scope, but then you still see the rest of the game around that normally, so you maintain your peripheral vision like you would if you were actually using one.
Nice.
And that's really cool. Your double-barrel shotgun, you can choose to shoot either both at the same time or just one barrel at a time. You can throw dynamite, either lit or not lit, so you can, like, shoot it later on. For some reason, the default is throwing it without lighting it first. That threw me off a little bit.
That's an odd one.
Yeah. Controls also very easily remapped, pleasantly so, for 1997. I had a very easy time setting everything up. It's a shame that LucasArts didn't get to do more of this kind of thing. Like, a lot of the Star Wars games they made are absolute bangers, so I don't think they were done dirty by any means, but this is unironically a really good Western with, like, surprisingly little jank or any sort of chicanery. Like, there's one level, because it's LucasArts and they need to put some sort of aquatic maze in there somewhere, looking at you like, look, I love Star Wars Dark Forces, but the sewer level in that game is a war crime. This one is better, but it was still the nadir of my experience so far. I'm just saying. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, like, it flows fast, it flows tight. It's like reloading is a big part of it, which was very unusual for the era. But yeah, like every weapon in this game, you have to reload every shot because, literally the technology didn't allow for anything else at the time. We can't just swap mags or something. No, if you want more rounds in your lever action, you know what you do? You thumb them in one by one because that's how it works.
Yep.
And that means there's actually like a good flow almost. Like you can't run and gun in the same way you would in something like Doom, because at a certain point, the gunning has to stop because you need to reload. And that means you need to actually get into cover. And so it maintains more of like an actual like showdown shootout kind of feel where you like duck in and out. And it plays nice. It plays well. The game is pleasantly generous with the hitboxes, but which I don't mean that like, oh, you could just shoot to the side and it'll still hit. But a lot of games from this era, if there was any sort of vertical deviation at all, like if you're on the same plane, then it's easy. But like if an enemy is above or below you, a lot of engines would struggle with determining exactly where you hit. And this game kind of gets around that by being just a tiny bit generous. So that's like, I can tell that didn't quite hit, but I can tell that it should have hit, and the game agrees with me, so the guy gets hit anyway. And
nice.
Yeah, that's just been a very nice way of doing it. Also, I need to give a shout out. There's health pickups, and also usable portable med kits that you could use from your inventory, both at the same time. Yes, thank you. More games need to remember that that's an option.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I will say, I don't know if it's just my specific setup or what. Slight jankiness I did have is I think the menus run in like a slightly different resolution than the base game or something to that effect. I had like slight screen flicker and lag like anytime I would have to pull up the save menu, for example, because there isn't a quick save and quick load. Not that you really need those. You can save and load anytime, anywhere. So the quick isn't really that big of a deal. But I did kind of feel their absence because the save menu has that tiny bit of jank to it. I unironically really recommend people do pick this up because it captures such a specific moment in time almost. Like, this is pretty much the actual end of the road for 2.5D shooters. Like, this came out the same year as Quake. Like, Dark Forces, that was caught in the middle era. This is like, they're on their way out, and LucasArts themselves would move on to the Sith engine after this, which was properly 3D. But it captures a very specific moment, and it's kind of the peak in a way, like until you get to like modern retro revisits of this sort of art style. But just the fact that like they had a big budget, they had good actors, they had an extremely experienced art team at this point who had like rightfully become famous. Because like, I don't care if you don't like LucasArts adventure games. LucasArts adventure games look amazing for their era, and so does this game. It's
amazing what you can accomplish by just keeping the same team for a long time and not firing everybody every quarter.
Yup. There's even like genuinely impressive for the era, like seamless transitions from gameplay to cutscene. Like you're playing
in 97?
Yep. Like you'll be playing through a train level and, opening the doors to the different carriages, and you open the last door. The door opening is the transition into the cutscene. It's seamless. I love it. I will say, it being hit scan only, like you can throw dynamite, but that's about it. It being hit scan only does mean, look, there's going to be times where you walk around the corner and there's a dude with a shotgun and he's going to get you before you get him. So do be sure to save. But that notwithstanding, there are multiple difficulty levels as well to help ease things out. I just really like it, and there's a lot here. They made an expansion, a handful of missions. Literally, that's what it's called. Get it? Because
which I assume is going to be included in the remaster as well.
My understanding is yes. From what I understand, everything that has ever been released for this game is getting added in, and they are also patching out the one known bug that was apparently still in there.
Good on you, Night Dive.
Hell yeah. In general, just big fans of Night Dive, doing the Lord's work, keeping old things accessible. I am really glad that this is getting a re-release. Because like I said, the PC version, you can get it to work and play nice, but it doesn't quite do it out of the box. I had to tell it to stop using DirectX or Vulkan rendering and go over to Glide 3D rendering, which... is kind of the Betamax or Video 2000 of graphics rendering, in that, boy, can you tell they didn't win the war. But
I've never even heard of it.
Yep. But yeah, you could just go into the options and change that, and it does work. And it deserves to be remembered. LucasArts did a lot of really cool stuff, both as a developer and even sort of as a pseudo-publisher. I'm a big fan of Armed and Dangerous, which was a game where they also contributed. They did a lot of off-the-wall cool stuff that was genuinely better, both from an artistry perspective and a gameplay perspective, than I think a lot of people give it credit for. Because this game was genuinely very technically impressive for its time, in terms of the sheer atmosphere it could create. Okay, it wasn't proper 3D, something like Quake, but Quake was a game changer, pardon the pun. Okay, it wasn't as much of a breakthrough as that thing that we used to define when the breakthrough happened. I'm not going to begrudge LucasArts for not being quite that revolutionary. Yeah.
But it's easy to forget that, I mean, I was not really paying attention to video games at this time because I was a very small child. But it is easy to forget that LucasArts games did for a long time have that air of, you're buying a LucasArts game. It's going to be great.
Yeah. They were AAA before AAA was a word.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding when I say that. Genuinely, actually, they had that aura and that mystique. And, to be fair, it's because they had a big budget. Because, they had George Lucas money. Do you have George Lucas money? Yeah. I don't. So, yeah. Highly recommended. In no small part for the gameplay, mostly for the artistry. Even if you don't play it, look up the soundtrack on YouTube. Or just wherever you can find it. It's... if any part of this deserved to be preserved, it is that soundtrack, and I'm so glad more people are going to get to play it. Like I said, it's coming out November 20th, assuming it doesn't get delayed. But Night Dive is pretty good about making their own deadlines, so very much looking forward to that. They did a great job with the remaster of Dark Forces as well. So
I've heard.
Yeah. So yeah. Give it a gander.
Sounds exciting.
Mm-hmm. It is rootin', tootin', and on more than one occasion, shootin'.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
The thing I was thinking of while you were talking about this is you don't see a lot of Western themed games, really. Because the obvious ones are Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2, and then there's Call of Juarez Gunslinger, and there's some combination Weird West games Weird West, I suppose.
Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare.
Yeah. What's that game that I talked about with the vampires? Talked about it on Game Podular Unfocused, and I can't remember what it was called. But there's that one.
Yeah. There's the original Red Dead Revolver. There's Gun, for the 4 people who remember Gun.
Yeah.
I've heard it explained as like the reason
we've been mentioning like
Yeah.
PS2 games now, right? Like,
Yeah. I've heard it explained as a big factor of why Westerns are pretty, rare in games and why it took a long time before they really started showing up in numbers is kind of a defining characteristic of a lot of like movie Westerns is the landscape, which is really hard to do on older game hardware. And
that's true.
Yeah, and to be fair, for as like immersive and atmospheric as a lot of the levels in Outlaws are, it's not because there is a gorgeous vista of, nature's majesty on display. Like, they do a lot of good work indoors and with human architecture and with caves and mines, but a lot of the time those things are going to be inside of a bucket of sand surrounded by cliffs. Because, we can't actually do, like...
Because it's 1997.
Exactly. Yeah. So, probably, in no small part because of that. Like, and, I did say that's a big part of movie Westerns. People forget Westerns are also a giant genre in literature. And I think this game is a good showcase of how it can still feel like a real proper Western, despite lacking the visual splendor of, a Sergio Leone movie. It feels very true to like a pulp Western novel, but like a good pulp Western novel, the kind where you start reading it because you have nothing better to do, and by the end you're like, damn, did this author do anything else? I gotta check this out. And then you find out the author mostly did sci-fi for their career.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's very interesting. It'll be interesting to see because you are far from the only person I know who loves old shooters. Scott, also a big fan of this kind of shooter, for instance. It'll be interesting to see how the Night Dive remaster does.
Yeah,
because they always do like top quality work.
Nearly always, and when they don't, it's Atari's fault.
And, it is a LucasArts game, but I get the feeling like one of the lesser well-known LucasArts games.
Yeah.
Because when people say LucasArts, I always think of like either Star Wars or the point and clicks.
Yes.
The Day of the Tentacles, the Monkey Islands, etc., etc.
Yeah. This is a rare example of them having like essentially, a blip in the schedule where they had nothing else going on, so they were able to sneak it in. And I'm so glad that they did, because, it's genuinely kind of a triumph. It's a good last hurrah for the 2.5D shooter before we brought them back. And, like, I think you can make an argument that for a long time, Outlaws might have been the best video game Western ever made. Eventually, like, serious competition would show up, but that took a while.
Yeah. I can see it, yeah. If you, out there, play the Night Dive remaster, hit us up. We'd like to learn more about it and see how it compares to the original. But before then, we are going to be playing other games.
Mon
They
Dieu.
keep making them.
Really? Seriously? Still? God, get a hobby or something.
For me, as I've alluded to in this podcast already, it's going to be what I'm going to be playing is Pokemon Legends ZA. I have it pre-ordered from my local game store, and I'm going to be picking it up on Thursday, and I'm going to be playing it, and I hope that I'm going to have a good time. It's a kind of a very different Pokemon game, so I'm curious how it makes that transition. How about you, Seskra?
I am going to be having company over next month, and we were throwing around of like, what do we want to play while everybody's here? And somebody asked like, ooh, we could do like maybe some Super Smash Brothers. We would need to find like a ROM with an emulator or something, but it's maybe doable. And I was just like, I have a GameCube, and I have Melee, and I have multiple controllers. We can just do this. And so everybody was like, yes, we should do that. So I'm going to be playing some Melee.
It's weird that hasn't been added to Switch Online yet.
True.
Like, we've had the GameCube games on Switch Online since the Switch 2. And so far, we've only gotten one new one on top of the ones that came at launch.
I mean,
and that is like one of the big ticket items for the GameCube.
Yeah. Like, I feel like either put it on NSO or just like sell it through the Nintendo shop. I'm not as big a fan of that second option, but like it's Melee. It's one of the best things Nintendo has ever done. Like it should let the people play it.
Yeah. Well, that should be fun. I haven't played Melee in so long because I don't own a GameCube and I never have. But I did play it at friends' houses.
I have so much muscle memory built in from playing Melee. Like, there's a reason why people still play modern Smash games with the GameCube controller, because everybody is just kind of like trained on that now. Like, the heat death of the universe will occur, and the last like electronic device ever assembled by humanity will be floating through an endless silent void, and it will still have a GameCube controller port on the back.
That should be a lot of fun. And that's going to do it for our episode this week. If you liked it, let us know. Hit us up in the YouTube comments or on our social medias. You'll hear more about that at the end. I have been Hilka. Joining me as a special guest this week has been Seskra.
Thank you for having here. It's been a pleasure to be me.
It was a delight to have you, and thank you again for filling in on such short notice.
You're welcome.
We'll talk to you all in the near future, whether that be on Twitch or on YouTube or right here on the podcast feed.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, Hilka here. I just wanted to say thank you for listening to this episode of N Focus. Obviously, bit of a different episode this time because Rosalie wasn't here. She'll hopefully be back for the next one. Fingers crossed her back sorts itself out. I do want to mention that if you like sort of the dynamic and the banter and the interesting points that Sesker brought, you should also listen to Game Podular Unfocused, which is our show about any games we like and any game-related thing. We've talked about like video game concerts and museum exhibits and stuff. It's a great time. Sesker's on there along with me and our host, Scott. And if you enjoyed this episode, you can leave us a review on iTunes. It's one of those things that really helps us get noticed. Tell your friends if you think they'd be interested. Word of mouth, also really, really useful. You can listen and subscribe on Spotify and other podcast services and YouTube. Hey, leave us a like on YouTube if you haven't already. And if you're listening on YouTube, also comment and subscribe. Tell us what you're looking forward to most in Pokemon Legends ZA. You can follow us on Blue Sky and at GamePodular.com for updates, news, and other content. You can find the links to all of those socials, including the Discord, the Mastodon, and the Blue Sky, at our Linktree. If you'd like to support our shows financially, you can buy us a coffee at our Ko-fi page or become a patron on the Game Podular Patreon. The details for both are on our website. Thank you. This episode was edited by me, and you can follow me at Gear12Turbo at Kind.social on Mastodon or at Gear12Turbo.Bluesky.social on Blue Sky. I was joined today by Seskra, who you can find at SeskraTheSpider.Bluesky.social. Have a good one.